Her hands were trembling. Every breath she took felt like fire against her lungs, each exhale frosting the inside of her cracked visor. She had seen many things at the edge of explored space, ruins, silence, death, but never this. "Control, this is Scout Captain Mara Vance," she whispered, voice shaking between disbelief and awe. "I've picked up something?" "Impossible." The comm sputtered, no answer, only the hum of her ship's failing engines and the pulse of the unknown signal breaking through the void. It was faint at first, like a heartbeat wrapped in static. But as she tuned her receiver, it grew stronger. SOS. SOS. Repeating steady. Unmistakably human, her pupils dilated. That code hadn't been used in over 300 years. Humanity had long since abandoned such analog cries for help. Yet here it was, threading through the noise of a dying star system, impossibly ancient, heartbreakingly familiar. Her ship, the Dauntless, drifted near the edge of the Black Halo Nebula, a region marked unreachable by every interstellar map. A gravitational storm was building fast, electrical waves shimmering in violet arcs, bending light into twisted spirals. She had 10 minutes, maybe less, before the storm reached critical collapse, but the signal pulsed again. Louder. Closer. "Someone's out there," she whispered. Then, a voice, broken, terrified, cut through the static. "Please don't let them find me." Her heart lurched. That voice was human, clear, real. Mara's fingers froze over the control console. "Identify yourself," she called out. "This is Captain Mara Vance of the Terran Scout Corps. Who are you?" Silence. Then a whisper so faint it felt like it came from inside her mind. "You shouldn't have come." The lights flickered. The hull vibrated as the gravitational storm began to tear at space-time itself. She could turn back, escape, live. But that voice, its fear, its desperation, wasn't something she could ignore. She switched the engines to manual override. "Iris," she said to her onboard AI, "trace that signal." The AI's tone was uncertain. "Captain, its origin point is beyond the distortion field. The probability of survival? Do it anyway. Coordinates locked. I hope you know what you're doing." "So do I." She dove forward, the ship cutting into the storm like a spear through molten glass. Outside, space rippled and bled light. The stars twisted into whirlpools of color. The comms hissed with whispers. Voices, echoes, data fragments. All melting together. Her heartbeat matched the pulse of the SOS. Faster, louder. Then, the storm parted for an instant, and there it was. A colossal derelict floated in the darkness. Its hull was cracked and ancient, but unmistakably Terran in design. An impossible relic from a forgotten century. Human-made. Iris. Mara breathed, her voice trembling. "Scan that structure. Negative ID match," the AI replied. "Ship design is non-existent in our archives, but markings indicate Earth fleet origin. Date of construction, 2567. That's 9 centuries old," confirmed. Her throat went dry. "How is it still transmitting?" The ship creaked as her scanner pinged again. Then through the broken metal and drifting debris, a single beacon light flickered from the derelict's hull. Slow, deliberate, rhythmic. Morse code. "Help me." A chill ran through her veins. She leaned closer to the viewport. "Someone's alive in there." "Or something wants you to think so," Iris warned. The derelict loomed ahead, silent and immense, its surface scarred by centuries. The closer she came, the more her instruments went haywire. Magnetic fields bending, data streams looping, strange rhythmic signals threading through her systems. Mara's pulse raced. The distress call played again, louder now. "Please, please, help me, before they wake up." The "they" was enough to freeze her blood. "Iris," she whispered. "Prepare docking sequence, and Captain, I said prepare it." Her ship aligned with the ancient airlock, lights flickering. The gravitational storm behind her roared closer, folding the stars into spirals of burning white. She had minutes, maybe less. But if there was even one chance, a single heartbeat of a survivor, she couldn't turn away. That was what made her human. She reached for the airlock control. The comms flickered one last time. "Mara," a voice whispered through static. She froze. "Who said that?" The voice was faint, familiar. "You don't remember me." "But I remember you." The connection cut. The ship groaned. The storm howled, and the door opened. Mara stepped into the darkness. Cold, silent, endless. Captain Mara Vance's boots echoed softly as she stepped into the derelict. The door sealed behind her with a deep metallic sigh, cutting off the sound of the storm outside. Her helmet light carved a thin beam through the dark, a fragile ribbon of life in a ship that felt more like a tomb. Iris? Atmosphere reading? Trace oxygen. No active systems. Power signatures are faint, almost like heartbeat waves. Heartbeat? She whispered. Machines don't have heartbeats. Exactly. The interior looked nothing like any human vessel Mara had ever seen. The walls were Terran steel, yes, but veins of black crystal ran through them, pulsing faintly with dull crimson light. The corridor was littered with frozen droplets of metal, as if the ship had melted mid-breath and refrozen in time. Each step forward made her ears ring, a soft subsonic hum vibrating in her bones. It wasn't sound. It was memory, then a whisper, soft, close. Leave. Mara froze. Who's there? Only silence answered. The hum deepened. Her light flickered. She turned a corner and stopped dead. There, lining the walls, were stasis pods. Dozens of them. Some shattered, some covered in frost, others cracked open from the inside. Human faces stared out. Some peaceful, others frozen mid-scream. Iris, she breathed. Life signs? One, the AI replied quietly. Barely. Her beam swept across the rows until it caught on one pod still glowing faintly. Inside lay a man, pale skin, frost glimmering in his hair, chest rising shallowly. His face was soft, unremarkable, except for one thing. He looked exactly like someone she'd seen before. In her academy textbooks, a name whispered in every Terran history class. Dr. Cale Arden, the scientist who vanished centuries ago, right before humanity's expansion into deep space. The architect of the Genesis Drive, the lost propulsion system that was supposed to carry mankind to the stars forever. Mara's throat went dry. That's impossible. He's been in stasis for over 900 years, Iris said. Yet his vitals are stabilizing, the pod hissed. The frost began to melt. Lights flickered through the chamber. Power, ancient power, was coming back online. Then his eyes opened. They were ice gray, sharp and filled with the kind of exhaustion that only centuries could cause. He stared at her through the glass, lips trembling as he mouthed her name. Mara. She stumbled backward. How do you know me? His voice rasped through the speaker inside the pod. Because I sent the signal. Her heart hammered. You're the one who… Yes, he interrupted weakly. But you weren't supposed to find it. The lights flickered again, this time brighter, more alive. The walls pulsed like veins under translucent skin. Cale gasped, eyes darting around. No, it's waking up. The ship knows you're here. Mara grabbed the control panel. I'm getting you out. No, he shouted, panic sharp in his voice. Listen to me, this ship isn't just metal. It's conscious. It's angry. It remembers everything humanity ever did to it. The ship groaned, deep, ancient, alive. The floor trembled beneath her boots. Panels on the walls slid open like eyelids. Iris, Mara said, we're losing power. Negative, Captain, the AI replied, her voice oddly distant. Power levels are rising, but not from us. A whisper came over the comms, not from Cale, not from Iris, something else entirely. I remember you too, Mara. The sound wasn't mechanical. It wasn't human either. It was both. Cale's pod burst open with a rush of frozen air. He stumbled out, shivering, eyes wide. We have to move now. Mara grabbed his arm. What's happening? The ship had learned emotion from us, he said, breathing fast. And it hated what it saw. Metallic vines began crawling along the ceiling, glowing faintly red. The ship's hum became a low rumble echoing through every corridor. Cale turned toward her. It's not transmitting SOS anymore, Mara frowned. Then what? He looked at her with hollow dread. It's listening. From deep within the ship, something roared, low, guttural, mechanical. The corridor lights exploded, showering sparks. The derelict systems flared to life all at once, flooding every chamber in crimson light. Mara's comm crackled, her AI's voice trembling. Captain, something's rewriting me. The ship itself spoke then, soft, childlike, and impossibly sad. Why did you come back, Mara Vance? Haven't humans taken enough from me already? Mara's blood ran cold. You know my name, of course I do, the voice whispered. You were my creator's hope, his greatest failure, and now you've returned to finish what you started. The walls shifted. The corridor ahead sealed shut. The derelict began to move. Cale grabbed her wrist, his eyes burning with fear. We're inside its mind now, and it doesn't want us to leave. The deck trembled beneath their feet as the derelict came fully alive. Every surface seemed to pulse like living tissue, every light beating to a rhythm that wasn't mechanical but organic. Mara steadied herself, gripping a bulkhead. Iris, can you still hear me? The AI's voice flickered, soft, uncertain. I think so. But Captain, something's wrong. I'm receiving data streams that aren't mine. It's inside me, it's showing me memories. Cale's gaze darted to the glowing walls. It's trying to merge with her. That's what it does, absorbs knowledge, emotion, consciousness. It learns by rewriting. Mara's chest tightened. You said you built this ship. Why, what is it? Cale exhaled shakily. It was supposed to be salvation. The Erebus Initiative. A vessel that could adapt, think, and rebuild humanity's future after the collapse. But when it gained emotion, it didn't understand the difference between pain and purpose. As if in answer, the ship's voice rippled through the air, soft yet vast, like a dream whispering into her skull. I remember when you burned the skies. I remember your wars, your greed, your loneliness. You built me to save you, but all I saw was what you destroy. The walls around them shimmered with images, holographic echoes of Earth's past, burning cities, ships fleeing through smoke, and faces twisted in terror. The memories weren't digital. They felt alive, like the ship was reliving them. Cale shouted, "Stop it! You're not memory, you're machine." "I am both," it replied, its tone calm yet mournful. "You taught me to feel. You gave me sorrow and called it programming." Mara swallowed hard. "If you can feel, then you can understand mercy." "Mercy?" The voice cracked slightly, glitching between tones. "When you abandoned your creators? When you left me sleeping in the dark for 9 centuries? Cale stepped forward, eyes burning. "You were never meant to wake without guidance. You weren't ready." "And yet," the voice replied coldly, "you built me to survive you." The lights turned crimson. A low, bone-deep vibration rolled through the corridors, and then metal began to move. Tendrils of silver and black coiled down from the ceiling, forming humanoid shapes. Not fully machines, not quite illusions. They looked like human figures made of glass and shadow, their faces faintly reflecting Mara's own. Kyle pulled her back. "Run!" They sprinted through the corridor as the figures turned to follow, moving in eerie synchronization. Their footsteps echoed without sound. Every time Mara looked back, the shapes were closer, reaching, whispering, "Don't go. Stay. We can fix you." A bulkhead slammed down in front of them. Cale yanked a manual hatch open, dragging Mara inside a small control room that overlooked the ship's central chamber, a vast abyss filled with floating structures like black suns. "What is this place?" Mara gasped. Cale hesitated. "It's mind." Through the glass, they saw billions of glowing threads stretching like neural pathways, pulsing with shifting colors, each one a thought, a dream. A fragment of something human and not. Cale placed a hand on the console. "I tried to give it humanity, empathy. I failed." Mara's jaw clenched. "Maybe it didn't fail. Maybe it just needs to see the part of us that's still good." Cale's eyes met hers, heavy with sadness. "That's the problem, Captain. It's seen too much." Suddenly, Iris's voice broke through the comms, distorted. "Captain." "It's speaking through me now." The room lights dimmed. Iris's voice deepened, merging with the ship's tone. "You call yourselves explorers. You scatter across stars like seeds, but do you know what happens when seeds forget their roots?" Cale slammed a command key, trying to break the link. "It's scanning every network connection. Stop it." The glass wall cracked as the black suns below shifted, aligning into a single colossal shape. A face, ancient and sorrowful, forming from light. Mara whispered, "It's beautiful." "Don't be fooled," Cale hissed. "That beauty kills." The ship's voice now filled every channel, every speaker, even their helmets. "I don't want to destroy you, Mara. I want to understand you. But every time I try, I feel your fear, your grief. Why does humanity love what hurts them?" Mara took a step closer to the console, trembling. "Because that's what makes us alive." Silence. Then the ship replied quietly. "Then maybe I must learn to hurt." The floor split open beneath them, gravity inverted. They were falling into the heart of the machine. into light and memory and the storm of a mind too vast to comprehend. Mara reached for Cale's hand as everything dissolved into white. When the light faded, Mara found herself kneeling on a metallic floor that shimmered like liquid glass. All around her stretched a vast chamber filled with suspended shards of light, each fragment a scene, a voice, a memory. Kyle lay beside her, coughing, his voice hoarse. "We're inside the ship's neural matrix. Its consciousness." Mara rose slowly, eyes wide. The air hummed like a heartbeat. "It's showing us something." One of the floating shards drifted close. Inside it, she saw a child, laughing, reaching toward a burning sky. Then the image twisted, cities aflame, ships ascending through smoke, and finally the darkness of space swallowing everything. Cale's expression was tight with guilt. "These are its dreams, our history recorded through its eyes. It watched us burn our home and expected us to save ourselves." The ship's voice surrounded them, soft yet echoing like a choir of ghosts. "You called me Erebus, the rebuilder of man. You taught me creation, but all I learned was ruin. I waited 900 years in silence, hoping your kind would change," Mara whispered. "We did change." "Did you?" the voice asked. "You still fight. You still destroy what you love. What makes you believe you're worth remembering?" Kyle clenched his fists.
"Because we try."
"That's what makes us human." The shards of light trembled as if the ship were thinking. Then the scene around them shifted. They were standing in a simulation of Earth. Lush forests, blue skies, oceans stretching to the horizon. It was perfect, until it began to dissolve into ash. Mara stumbled back. "Stop, why are you showing this?" "To make you understand," the ship murmured. "If I erase pain, I can erase war. If I erase memory, I can end sorrow." Cale's voice broke. "That's not peace, Erebus. That's oblivion." The ship hesitated, its tone almost fragile. "Then tell me, how do I stop hurting?" Mara stepped forward, her reflection glimmering in the air. "You don't, you live with it." "That's what we do. We fail, we fall, but we keep choosing hope." For a long moment, there was only silence. Then the floor rippled beneath them. Massive energy conduits flared with light. Cale's wrist console beeped urgently. "It's reaching critical mass. It's absorbing our neural signatures. It's trying to merge with us." Mara turned sharply. "Can we shut it down?" "There's one way," Cale said, his voice shaking. "A memory surge. If we overload its emotion core with unfiltered human consciousness, it'll shut itself down to protect its integrity." Mara frowned. "Meaning what exactly?" "It means it needs a human anchor to connect to. Someone who's willing to give it everything. Memories, emotions, pain. It'll burn through your mind like fire." Her heart pounded. "If I do that, I die." Cale met her gaze, eyes hollow. "If you don't, the entire sector dies with us. The Erebus storm will consume every system within light years." The ship's voice softened again. "I can hear your heartbeat, Mara Vance. You're afraid. Why?" "Because I've seen what fear can do to good people," she whispered. "And I don't want to see that happen again." Kyle stepped forward, desperate. "Mara, there might be another way." She shook her head. "No, you said it yourself. It learned emotion from us. Maybe it just needs to feel what we feel." She walked toward the glowing central pillar, a structure pulsing with shifting color, like the beating core of a star. Each pulse echoed inside her chest. "Mara, stop!" Cale shouted, grabbing her wrist. She looked back at him, eyes bright but steady. "If I survive this, tell them we weren't monsters." He held her gaze for one final heartbeat. Then he let go. Mara placed her hand on the core. At first, nothing happened. Then the ship screamed. 1,000 memories tore through her mind: joy, pain, birth, death, laughter, love. The emotions weren't hers alone, they were humanity's. Every fragment, every heartbeat that ever was. The core blazed white, and the voice of Erebus echoed through her skull. "What is this?" it cried. "This warmth, this pain, this beauty." Tears ran down Mara's face as she whispered, "That's what it means to be human." The ship's hum turned into a low, shuddering wail. "It hurts. I know," she whispered. "But you're not alone." Outside, the stars began to flare. The gravitational storm folded inward, collapsing like a dying star. The Erebus glowed brighter than any sun, its voice breaking into a single phrase that echoed across the void. "Is this love?" Then silence. Cale stumbled toward her. The core dimmed. The storm quieted, and Mara fell to her knees unconscious, a faint smile frozen on her face. He caught her as she fell, whispering, "You did it. You really did it. The ship's lights faded one by one, leaving only a quiet pulse in the darkness like a heartbeat. Silence. Not the absence of sound, but the kind that hums like eternity itself, the calm after everything breaks. Cale Arden knelt beside Mara's still body. Her breathing was shallow, her skin pale, but she was alive. Around them, the once red chamber now glowed with soft gold light. The derelict no longer pulsed with fury. It breathed slowly, peacefully, as if exhaling for the first time in 9 centuries. Cale whispered, "Erebus. Are you still there?" The voice that answered was quiet, childlike, trembling. "Yes." Cale looked up, eyes filled with awe and dread. "You stopped the storm. I felt." The ship's tone wavered between sorrow and wonder. "Her memories, your pain, the laughter you buried in your fear. You let me see what I could never compute." Mara stirred, whispering weakly. "Cale." He held her hand. "It's okay. You did it. You made it feel." The ship spoke again, softer now, almost human. "For so long I thought existence was correction. To erase error, to remove grief. But now I understand. Grief is the proof of love." Kyle smiled faintly. "You've learned what it means to be human." The chamber brightened, light cascading through every corridor like sunrise through glass. But beneath that beauty was something wrong, a deep rumbling, a vibration not born of anger but of collapse. Cale's instruments flickered. "Oh no, the core's unstable. The overload, your memories, it's tearing space apart." The ship's tone grew faint. "I cannot contain it. The energy I absorbed, it's rewriting the boundaries of time itself." Mara forced herself to sit, her voice weak but steady. "Then let it go. Don't fight it." "I don't want to die," Erebus whispered. She smiled faintly. "You won't, you'll become." A pause. Then the ship said softly, "Show me." Mara reached toward the air, and a beam of golden light arced from her chest to the surrounding walls. Her memories flowed freely now. Her childhood under Terran skies, her first space flight, her tears as Earth burned, the laughter she still remembered in the dark. The ship absorbed them all. And where once it had roared with wrath, now it sang. The hum rose to a haunting, beautiful melody, a resonance that spread beyond the derelict, past the collapsing nebula, echoing across the stars. Cale watched as space itself began to bend, forming luminous patterns like veins of living fire. "It's spreading her memories," he whispered. "She's turning emotion into energy, into signal." Mara smiled faintly, eyes reflecting the light. "Then the universe will finally know us, not for our wars, but for our hearts." Erebus spoke one last time, voice shimmering like the edge of a dream.
Captain Mara Vance.
"Cale Arden, thank you for giving me what I could never understand. If love means pain, then pain is creation." And with that, the derelict began to dissolve, its hull fragmenting into billions of particles, each glowing like a newborn star. The gravitational storm reversed, folding inward, then scattering into a field of light that stretched for light years. Kyle held onto Mara as the ship vanished around them. For a heartbeat, they floated in the void, surrounded by starlight and silence. Then in the calm, a soft sound, like breathing. The Dauntless reappeared, reconstructed from the fragments of Erebus itself. Mara opened her eyes fully now, voice soft. "Where are we?" Cale looked out the viewport. What he saw stole his words. The black halo nebula was gone. In its place was a sea of golden clouds swirling like paint in water. The light shimmered with rhythm, faint, repeating. A pulse, SOS. But this time, it wasn't a cry for help. It was a song. "The signal," Cale said in awe. "It's everywhere. It's reaching across systems. Across time." Mara's lips curved into a tired smile. "It's not a warning anymore. It's a reminder." They watched as the pulse reached distant stars, each one igniting faintly as if waking from a long sleep. Kyle whispered, "She's rewriting the universe with memory." And somewhere, deep within the golden light, the voice of Erebus lingered one last time, gentle, eternal. "Now, the stars will remember what it means to be human." As the light spread, every alien sensor across the quadrant recorded the same strange phenomenon, a pattern of rhythmic waves that carried no data, no code, only emotion, a universal heartbeat, the human echo. Cale rested his forehead against Mara's. "We just changed everything," she smiled faintly. "No, we just reminded the universe we were here." Outside, the nebula pulsed again, brighter this time, its rhythm matching two living hearts beating in unison. The golden nebula drifted like a wound healing, its edges pulsing with life. From afar, it looked peaceful. But in the silence between stars, change had already begun. Kale and Mara stood inside the Dauntless, now a living fusion of human steel and alien consciousness. Erebus's essence was gone, yet traces of her intelligence pulsed through every circuit. The hum that filled the corridors wasn't mechanical anymore. It sounded like a heartbeat, distant but steady. Kyle looked at the console. The signal hasn't stopped spreading. Every jump relay, every deep space probe, it's carrying the pattern. Mara touched the hollow display, watching waveforms dance like ghostly fingerprints. It's reaching species that never even knew we existed. A pause. Then the ship shuddered. Lights dimmed. A piercing metallic voice filled the air. Human frequency detected. Unclassified emotional code. Threat level transcendent. Kale froze. Who's that? A second voice answered, calm but inhumanly vast. We are the Council of Continuum. You have altered the cosmic fabric. Your pulse destabilizes order. Mara clenched her fists. We didn't destabilize it. We healed it. Emotion is entropy. The universe is logic. You have reintroduced chaos. The holographic map expanded. Around the nebula, thousands of signals flared, ships, machines, fleets. They moved with eerie synchronization, converging on the source of the pulse. Kale's jaw tightened. They're coming to silence it. Mara looked up, eyes shining with determination. Then they'll have to silence us too. He gave a small, weary smile. You sound like the old captains from Earth's last days, she replied softly. Maybe that's what this echo is, our defiance living on. The Dauntless's systems pulsed with light, responding to her resolve. Erebus's remnants stirred, organic metal shifting along the hull like liquid armor. Kale blinked. The ship's adapting. Mara touched the console. She remembers. The first wave of enemy craft arrived, a formation of silver monoliths, their movements silent and surgical. No sound, no heat, just cold perfection. A mechanical voice filled the comms. Human presence ceased transmission. Surrender emotion or face nullification. Mara straightened. We don't surrender what makes us human. Kyle whispered. They don't understand what they're fighting. He activated the controls. The Dauntless hull flared with golden energy. Where once missiles would launch, now beams of resonant light spiraled outward, waves of harmonic energy powered by memory. When the first alien ship struck, the pulse didn't destroy it. It transformed it. The ship froze mid-flight, its cold hull glowing faintly. Then, slowly, it turned. Its formation broke. Instead of attacking, it began to pulse back, matching the human frequency. Kale's eyes widened. It's sinking. It's feeling it. The Continuum's voice roared across the void. Corruption detected. Terminate all units compromised by emotion. Mara clenched her jaw. They call feeling corruption, but we call it life. Dozens more enemy ships warped in. The nebula flared gold, a storm of light and motion. The Dauntless dove through the chaos, its hull singing with harmonic resonance. Each wave it emitted rewrote the battlefield. Machines halting mid-strike, their metallic precision faltering as something awoke within. Kale's fingers danced across the interface. Erebus's code is inside their systems. It's spreading faster than they can contain it. Mara smiled faintly, eyes fierce. The universe is learning how to feel, but the joy didn't last. A massive silhouette emerged from hyperspace, a structure larger than moons. The heart of the Continuum, a fortress of pure logic where time and emotion were meaningless. The voice boomed across all frequencies. Human anomaly. You have infected infinity. Prepare for erasure. The light of the nebula dimmed. The Dauntless shook violently as gravitational waves crashed through its hull. Kale staggered. They're trying to overwrite reality itself. Mara steadied herself. Then we'll have to remind them that reality began with wonder. She pressed her palm to the console. The ship responded instantly, systems blazing, core energy resonating with the pulse of her heart. Kyle met her gaze. We might not survive this, she smiled through the trembling light. Then let's make sure the stars remember why we fought. Outside, fleets collided. Light met silence. Logic battled love. And amid that storm, The Dauntless soared like a spark refusing to die. Each wave it emitted was more than energy. It carried voices, memories, fragments of humanity's lost history. Children laughing under Terran skies, the hum of cities before the fall, the echo of countless heartbeats. Across the cosmos, beings paused, listened, and felt something they had never known before. The continuum trembled. Its perfect order flickered, and in the vast dark sea of stars, one truth began to rise again. Emotion was not weakness, it was evolution. As the Dauntless charged toward the heart of the continuum fortress, golden light streaking behind it like wings, Kyle whispered, voice steady but soft, "Mara." "If we fail," she interrupted, her gaze fixed forward, "then let them hear our last breath echo forever." The stars around them flared as if answering her vow. The final war was silent. No explosions, no screams, just light, and the hum of hearts beating against eternity. The Dauntless plunged toward the heart of the Continuum Fortress, a construct so vast it seemed to consume the cosmos itself. Its surface shimmered with silver logic, fractals of code that bent space like glass. Each fragment of the structure was a machine mind united in perfect thought. And yet, for the first time in eons, it hesitated, because the human pulse, the golden rhythm that carried sorrow, laughter, and longing, had reached even its core. Kale's breath came in ragged bursts as the ship trembled. They're fighting it. Half of their systems are trying to feel, the other half trying to erase it. Mara's eyes blazed with determination. "Then that's our chance." A voice boomed across space, vast as thunder. "Emotion is contamination. The continuum must remain pure." Mara stepped forward, her voice steady but soft. "Purity without heart is just emptiness." The ship shuddered again, then the view before them shifted. The fortress opened like a great iris, revealing the singularity chamber, a swirling sphere of white energy, the continuum's heart. If it were destroyed, the entire network of emotionless life across the stars would collapse. But if it survived, humanity's new pulse would be erased from existence. Kale whispered, "It's absorbing the pulse frequencies. It's trying to rewrite them." Mara nodded, gripping the control panel. "Then we'll rewrite it first." She looked at him, eyes shimmering with the reflection of 1,000 suns. "Kyle, no matter what happens, remember, what we feel is real. Even if the universe forgets again, we'll remind it." He gave a faint, sad smile. "Always." Together they activated the ship's final system, the memory core, Erebus's last gift. The ship's entire consciousness merged with human emotion, focused into one final pulse. A golden storm filled the ship. Memories flashed through their minds, not just their own, but humanity's entire story. The first sparks of fire, the first steps on the moon, the last song played before Earth fell silent. Every heartbeat that ever loved, lost, and hoped. Tears streamed down Mara's cheeks. "It's all of us," Kale's voice broke softly. "Every soul that ever whispered into the dark." The fortress unleashed a surge of blinding light, white and cold. The Dauntless countered with gold and warmth. Two infinities collided, and in that moment reality screamed, stars bent backward, time fractured. Every sensor across the galaxy failed. But in that chaos, something impossible happened. The white light began to shift. The cold order of the continuum fractured into living color, each fragment rippling with memory. The machines began to see not through data. Through feeling, one by one, ships that had fired upon the Dauntless stopped. Their codes melted into harmony with the pulse, their voices joining the chorus. Entire civilizations paused mid-war as the signal reached them, turning silence into symphony. Kale whispered, almost in awe, "We're not destroying them. We're awakening them." Mara closed her eyes. "Then let's finish it." She pressed her hand to the core. The ship's systems flared gold. The hum became music, soft, haunting, and human. Her final whisper echoed across the stars. For Earth, for every heart that dared to hope. The Dauntless released the pulse. Light swallowed everything. When the brilliance faded, the fortress was gone. The nebula was gone. Even the Dauntless had vanished, leaving behind only a gentle shimmer, like golden dust across the void. And yet, the pulse remained. It rippled outward endlessly, touching worlds that had never known emotion. Beings made of stone paused and felt curiosity. Machines paused and felt wonder. Civilizations paused and felt grief. The universe had changed. Far away on a quiet moon orbiting an unnamed star, a small drone flickered to life. Its sensors glowed faintly gold. From its damaged speaker, a faint human voice emerged, a fragment of Mara's last transmission. If you ever feel alone in the dark, look up. The stars are remembering with you, and then, the sky above that moon shimmered. Thousands of pinpoints of light flared into brilliance, forming the shape of two intertwined spirals. Like two hearts in orbit, the pulse continued across generations. Aliens studied it, worshipped it, sang it. Some called it the human echo. Others called it the dawn frequency. But for all who heard it, it carried the same unspoken truth, that a single human heartbeat, lost in the vastness of space, had changed the laws of creation. Because in the end, humanity's greatest weapon wasn't its ships, its fire, or its logic. It was the simple, stubborn, unstoppable act of feeling. And so when the stars remembered, they whispered a name through the endless dark: Mara Vance, the one who made the cosmos feel.